Hello and welcome to Fueling Around with me, Jason Plato, and the steam on my hot pot. It's Dave Vitty.
Fueling Around is powered by Adrian Flux. As the UK's largest specialist insurance broker, Adrian Flux will tailor a quote to your exact needs and help save you money on your car, your bike, or even your home insurance.
Now, don't forget to press subscribe on YouTube so that you never miss an episode, or press the follow button on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Mr. Vitty.
Mr. Plato, I'm all right, thank you. Do you know what? We normally, in this part of the, I like to call it a show, right? In this part of the show, we normally talk about the weather. Now, we're
No, we're not doing that.
Well, I know, because you're hanging on to, the viewers can't see, but when you went over to the back of your kitchen there, I could see that you're still rocking the shorts, whereas I've gone for the grown-up look today. Yeah. See, you're still hanging on, even though the weather's not saying summer.
What? It's I'm going to go for a nice walk in a minute.
Good.
When I've done this.
Good.
Bit of health for the morning.
Absolutely, and I think that's exactly what we do. But before all of that, we've got a very, very special episode with an extremely special guest we've been trying to get hold of for a very long time.
Indeed. Our special guest today is an actor who's become one of the best-known faces on British television, having been on our screens, get this, for more than 35 years. An undisputed star of the soaps and a true king of the cobbles. It is, of course, Coronation Street, Simon Gregson. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, Jason. How are you guys?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on. Listen, as Jason just said in the intro, 35 years. You started on Corrie, according to my research, in 1989 at the age of just 15, right? Could you ever have imagined that all these years on, at the age of 50, if you don't mind me saying, you'd still be going strong?
Absolutely not. No, I just thought this was a flash in the pan. Every year when my contract came round for renewal, because we're contracted every year, my mum would always say, "Oh, let's hope you get it this year." And about 30 years in, I was like, "I think I might be all right this year." But she's totally right, because you do never know. Yeah. But you know what? No. And this is a God's honest true story. The reason I went for the job, because I wasn't an actor. I wanted to join the RAF originally.
Okay.
The reason I went for it was for money, because, the hope that I'd get it to get some money, because I'd seen a Ford Escort Mexico in loot in bright orange, and I was like, I want that car, so I'll go for that job. I might be able to put something towards it.
Hey, and did you get the car?
You know what? I couldn't afford to buy it now. Even if there was another one for sale. It was $4,000 in 1989. That was a lot of money then, wasn't it?
God, that's a lot of money, isn't it? I wonder what that is in today's coin.
Do you know what? It will be, I don't know, but it is a lot in 1989, wasn't it? $4,000.
It must have been a belter, though.
Oh, yeah, it was a minter, yeah. Yeah, it was beautiful.
So, everyone will know you as Steve McDonald, who's a great character. How did you get called Steve?
I've absolutely no idea. We had Jim and Liz as the mum and dad, and then it just went down to Andy and Steve for us guys.
And you get called Steve out in the streets?
I got called Steve by my mum once at home. So she said, it was a genuine mistake. She went, I've been talking with Steve all day at work. I was like, I know, but it's the last thing I need at home. Bless her poor mum. It was genuine. But yeah, I get called Steve all the time. Even get called Steve off people at work I've known for 35, 36 years,
I'm not surprised, because, as I say, when you're that recognisable a face, and when it's a character that people have grown up with for so long, it must just come as second nature for people to call you that. But, sort of joking aside, when you are such a recognisable face, do you find, and I know it's part of the course and whatnot, but do you find that people are staring at you the whole time? You're just sort of aware that if you're in the shop or you go for Sunday dinner or whatever, that you've got people looking over?
Yeah, your life is a huge goldfish bowl. It's you guys know, being in the public eye and what have you, but there's a strange thing with soaps. A very good friend of mine, John Mickey, had joined the show, and he'd done some fantastic big movies. He'd done all sorts of very well-known face. And he said, I'm sure he won't mind me telling this story, that he said, why, if you guys go to London, you won't get bothered. So I said, mate, give it about 2 weeks after your character appears on screen and come back to me. And he went, oh my God, I'm getting mithered everywhere I go. And the thing is with the soap, you're in people's front rooms every night of the week. And they grow up with your character and they kind of grow up with you. So in their psyche, you're kind of in their lives. So it is straight. The reaction to soap people is straight. I guess it's the same for people who do the morning TV and the news and stuff like that. It's very similar, I guess.
Yeah, because you do. Because when it is somebody that you recognise so much, you do. And I've done it myself, right? I did it with Gary Lineker once at the BBC at TV Centre years ago. He walked in. I'd never met him before, and he walked in, and I sort of went, "Oh yeah." And then because you think you know them, but you don't know them. And again, with someone like you, and again, you're one of those faces that's just so well known. Same as someone like say Adam Woodyat on EastEnders, I would sort of say is in the sort of same bracket in terms of that recognisable face. Is that people must all the time just kind of go, oh yeah, because you think it's a mate. You kind of go, oh no, it's not. I know them off the box.
Yeah. It's crazy. I once had a woman grab hold of my arm in down the aisle in a supermarket, and she grabbed hold of me with a face of like shock and horror, and hold on to me for ages, and then apologised and walked off. And I thought, she thinks I'm a dead relative. Because everyone has said, you're just like me brother. You're just like me dad. Now it's like, your dad. I'm like, oh, great. But you're just like me brother. You're spitting image in every way. I'm like, blinking heck.
Hey, but what's the schedule like? Because I can imagine it's brutal. Because it's, how many shows you film a week?
So we're currently 6 shows a week. So there's a lot to do. We have...
Yeah.
It takes about 3 weeks to film a block, which is those 6 episodes. So that's called one block. And usually we have 3 blocks filming at once every week. So it's Monday to Friday. Okay. You're on camera at 8:15. Obviously, you have to go in and get prepped before that. And then we can wrap about 6:45, 7 o'clock at night. And then sometimes film a Sunday. But it completely depends how busy you are within the block. Like, I'm not in till 5:30 tonight. I'll do an hour and I'll come home. So, swings and roundabouts,
So, in terms of learning lines and stuff, I mean, have you got your own system, or are you just, after 35 years, you're just in the groove?
I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky in the fact that I can just look the night before, regardless of how many scenes I've got. I think the max used to be about 12 scenes a day. And I'd just look at that the night before. And that only comes from, I don't know whether I've got a photographic memory or have built myself one, because I was always late for about 10 years and often out partying somewhere and not knowing that I was in work, and I had to learn them there and then. I've kind of brain trained myself through panic of, oh no, I shouldn't be in this nightclub, I should be at work.
And are you able to sort of improvise it a little bit? So when you say sort of scanning it over, but if, for example, because, as I say, because you've played Steve McDonald for so long, you know everything about him as a character and exactly how he would be and react.
Absolutely, yeah.
Can you sort of wing it a little bit? If you get halfway through the scene and you're thinking, oh God, can you just improvise?
Yeah, I mean, you can to a certain degree. The guys there give you a lot of leeway for those reasons. You've been there for a while. But you can't go too much because the camera script is developed off the script. So you have to give cue lines and stuff like that. But if you work with somebody on a regular basis, then the rule of thumb is, if I stop speaking, come in with your line. That happens a lot.
I like that. Funny enough, me and Dave do that all the time.
Absolutely. It's like my other one, right? If I'm out with Jason somewhere, or I'm out with another work colleague or mate or something, if I kind of go in somewhere and I kind of go, by the way, if I don't introduce you, I've clearly forgotten their name. It's that same sort of thing, because it happens. You find in that scenario when you're on your own. It's when you're with someone else, you're with your missus or you're with your mate, and you've got to do the intro thing. And I'm like, if I don't say anything, just come straight in and kind of go, hi, I'm Jason. Absolutely. You have to.
Yeah, and then you end up calling everyone mate all the time, don't you?
That's
mate.
so true. Isn't it?
I'm like, oh God. Especially now I'm 50, I'm finding I'm getting worse.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Simon, Steve, mate, whatever we're going to call you, let's talk cars, right? Because you are something of a petrol head. It's why you're here. It's why we're all here. Where did the love of cars first come from? You know, was it something that was passed down from your parents when you were a little boy?
My dad's always been into cars. Growing up, not having a lot of money, he was always having to fix his own cars. So, of course, I was always, in my dad's shadow, trying to help him, do this, that, and the other, basically getting in the way all the time. We didn't particularly have anything special, but I just loved the cars. Ever since I could push them around on the little Matchbox mat, I just had a huge passion for them. I remember my mate had a great collection of Matchbox cars, and I would sit there looking at them, dreaming one day I'd be able to own a real one of those and stuff like that. So, yeah, just grown up. Just one of those things I just attached to. Loved them.
And in terms of the history of the cars, of your cars, what was your first motor?
My first motor was a Suzuki Samurai, the SJ413. We were driving somewhere, me and my dad, and I saw it on a car lot up in the hills of Derbyshire, and it was on these huge kind of pepper pot style deep dish shiny alloys, massive tyres.
Yeah.
It was a metallic blue. It had this kind of chrome, big, thick kind of side plate all the way down the body with Suzuki ghosted into it. It had surf bars front to back. It was just this mean looking thing, and I went, I've got to have it. So I'd been in the job a couple of years, but I still needed to borrow a couple of quid off my dad to get it. And it went from there, really. A couple of Suzukis, and then straight, I had a Vitara. But I'd fell in love with the Renault 5 GT Turbo. And
weren't they fantastic?
It's still one of my favourite, if not my favourite car I've ever owned. I absolutely adore it. I'm constantly looking for one, but again, they're just crazy money now, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Listen, before we get into the car history properly, a little bit of mid-show housekeeping from me. If you haven't already, please press subscribe on YouTube so that you never miss an episode, or press the follow button on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. So there you are, Simon, as a young man cruising around the streets of Stockport in your Suzuki Samurai and whatever. It's
Suzuki?
Hey?
Did you say Suzuki?
What did
Suzuki?
Suzuki, I said. Is it Suzuki? I suppose it is Suzuki.
That sounds really weird. Does that sound weird to you, Si?
It did a bit, yeah.
Yeah, no, do you know, I'd never even thought about it. No, you're right. It's Suzuki, isn't it? Suzuki. Anyway, you were cruising around Stockport in the Suzuki Samurai, all the S's.
Samurai.
Samurai. What then follows? So did you get the Astra? You dreamt of the Astra, but you never actually got it.
It was the Escort. No, I never got the Escort. My kind of taste moved on a little bit from then. I was in love with four-wheel drives after getting the Suzuki. So I got into a Vitara, which had the I think this was called a bad boy conversion kit. Wide arches, this, that, and the other. And I cruised around in that for a bit. And then, like I said, I got into the 5 Turbo, and that was my love of Renault for a while. Got out the 5, I think, after the 5 I got into a Saab 900 Turbo convertible. Black on black factory kit. Loved it. That got nicked. Got out of that I had an interim period where I got into just this 5 Series, 535 or whatever it was. Yeah. Got into that for a while, and then got a Renault Alpine GTA in satin beige, which was an unusual colour. Satin beige. Wow, it was kind of like a very... beige, satin beige. It was kind of like a very dark gold. Yeah, it was. I wish we've still got that. My dad's got it.
Really?
I wish it was satin beige again. Yeah, it's been on my dad's drive for 30 years or something.
Good Lord.
And then what did I get after that? I sprayed it yellow because they brought out the A610, which I thought was just fabulous.
Yes.
And it was in canary yellow, I think. So I put it in yellow.
Yeah. Do you know what? Underrated, forgotten about cars, those, actually, because they were crackers.
They were great. They were all GRP, and then, they were kind of... they were quite underpowered. They had that PRV engine in from the DeLorean and stuff. This one was the Atmo, the 3-litre normally aspirated thing on Solex carbs. It was a dog. They do a Holycarb conversion now to boost it up a bit. But it handled great, and the driving position was great, and they looked great. I'll have to get it done up. It was a fantastic machine.
Yeah.
But I got into all sorts after that. I had a Ferrari 328 GTS. Which I'd fell in love with through Magnum PI. It was the 308, of course.
Yeah.
But the 328 was a bit better, so I got that. That was originally from Guernsey. It was on Guernsey plates still when I got it. It had only done. It was an E-Reg 88. It had done 17,000 miles from new. It was mint.
Wowzer.
You can't go very far in Guernsey, though. That's the thing, isn't it? You can't put miles on over there.
Can only do 40 miles an hour. Well, I couldn't go very far in this country. I drove it an hour away, got out and fell over. The whole left-hand side of my body had gone dead. So I part-exit for a Jaguar XKR.
Okay.
Hello.
I kept that. I kept that for 13, 14 years. I'd only done 60,000 by the time I got rid of it. I absolutely adored that car. Adored it. And I got out of that into a Range Rover then because I had kids, There's been all sorts along the way. I had an Overfinch classic Range Rover with the 5.7 Chevy in it.
Yeah, V8 in it.
Yeah, that was in purple.
Oh,
I couldn't turn it down. It was only $4,000.
I was going to say, it wasn't originally in purple, so that was what someone had put it in that, had they?
I think it was originally purple, yeah. It was a divorce thing on eBay, yeah. Some woman had got divorced and she's selling her husband's car. I found it. I went straight round. I was like, I'll have that. Got a bargain.
But you know what? I was going to ask you whether there were any sort of significant kind of milestones. We find that, when there's sort of well-known people and once they've got a few quid in their back pocket, there's always a sort of car that sort of changes the history. Right now, for sure, the Ferrari stands out. But I was going to say, before you got to the Ferrari, the Saab 900, I think, was probably a turning point as well, wasn't it? I mean, that was probably your first serious car at that sort of stage in your life. Wouldn't you agree?
I think for me, what really stood out as like, I'm in the vehicle that I'm supposed to be in was the 5 Turbo. It was just a sublime drive. It was hilarious. The turbo lag was hilarious. You always played that game with your mate. If you can grab the fiver off the dash, you can have it. And it was just. I was 18. I was an idiot in it, like we all probably were.
Yeah.
But I just absolutely loved it. That kind of lit the fire under my want for performance cars, That's when I kind of fell in love with driving fast. I joined it wasn't long after that, I joined the Gold Track Driving Club with Callum Lockie.
Oh, did you? Yeah, with Callum, yeah.
Yeah, and I had a Westfield.
And Melindy.
Yeah, lovely, yeah. And I went racing with them, and I think my first introduction to motorsport, as it were. I mean, obviously these are track days, and nothing like you, Jake. But it was down at Silverstone with a guy called Colin Waterhouse, who was TVR Tuscan champion.
Oh, right, yes.
And he taught me to drive in a Ginetta. And I fell in love with it. Cool. And then I went into a Westfield, and it was only a 1 point, it was a crossflow board to 1.7, twin 45s on it or something. Kent Cam.
Yeah.
Light, quick. Yeah. And I was just trouncing 911s, TVRs. They're on rails. So I absolutely fell in love with motorsport then, but I wasn't allowed to do it contractually, classed as a dangerous sport.
I was going to say that. I can imagine the contractual stuff. So I guess you've not done a race, or have you?
No, not competitively. I matched the instructor's time down at Alton Park in an MG. We're only supposed to do 3 laps,
Good lad.
and they came into me. I came in the pits, and they went, "Get out the car." So the instructor I was with, the instructor said, "No." He said, "When have you ever smelled an amateur? When have you ever smelled an amateur?" That I've not said that right. When have you ever smelt a car that an amateur's been in? We've got to let him go out and have more laps. So I matched the instructor's time. So word got about, and I was offered Ferrari 355 challenge in Spa. That got so
that
far
would have been good,
line. Yeah, I got quite far down the line with it. The guy who was had been unfortunately convinced to get this idiot off the TV in his Ferrari. Was talking to me about, you've got to let the gearbox warm up. Don't do this. Don't crash my car. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I was offered rallying with Seat. I was offered a few things. Well, no, I wasn't. I was offered those 2 things, and I had to meet with the boss of insurance for ITV, and he said, "Absolutely hell no." And that was my possible career in racing gone. I was gutted. It was my lifelong dream, and I was gutted. And then, of course, Kelvin from Emmerdale, he's racing McLaren, Bentley, Porsche.
All sorts, yeah.
I was like, that was my dream.
So how does that work then? How did he get away with it and you couldn't?
He said get lost and left the show.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Which is what I should have done. Or maybe I shouldn't. Or I won't be here now.
Brilliant. So, I mean, your history of cars is wide and long and varied. Is there anything, another itch you've yet to scratch?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely there is. I'd love a Continental GT, but the money in them, the old ones now, when they go wrong, they're not affordable. I'd love Ferrari 250 GT California, but
oh man, yeah, there's a big but there.
One that they make off the Z3. I've seen very expensive ones that have been done really well, and that's the only way I'll be able to attain one. But some of them look really, really good.
Is that the Ferris Bueller Ferrari?
Yeah.
Yes. Because I didn't realise, I read something the other week whereby obviously they had a real one in the film, but obviously they had to have various replicas for all, for example, where when they jump it and it comes down, and obviously all the suspension's knackered, and obviously when it goes out the garage as well.
Windows,
absolutely. So I didn't realise that they were all they had numerous, bit like the Dukes of Hazzard and the General Lee. There were so many of them because they just got trashed, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, which is probably true of many a petrol head, a lot of the cars I want to own are from TV and film. So, a Charger or the Trans Am from... in fact, my ringtone is the Cannonball Run. So so having, a Trans Am would be nice. But there's all sorts, anything. I don't care. I like to drive all sorts of things. I had a Panda 4x4, which I adored. I had a Triumph front-wheel drive, 1968 front-wheel drive. I had a Vauxhall Viva 1500 from the 60s. I just love driving different machines. I don't care what it is. At the moment, classic cars are my favourites. They don't have to be mega expensive. I just want the experience of different vehicles,
So what does the current collection consist of then?
I had to get back in the Jaguar. I needed a family wagon, but obviously, I wanted something nice and I wanted something powerful. So I got an F-Pace with the supercharged V6 in.
Yeah.
phenomenal engine. So love that. I mean, it's ridiculously quick for the size of the thing. But love that thing, and it's a nice looking thing. We've got a long wheelbase BMW 730, which is probably one of the nicest drives I've ever had. Yeah. I've just bought a Fiesta ST150, which I absolutely adore. I got it for £1,000. It's only done 100,000 miles. It's had all sorts done to it, and black on black again. All heated black leather and everything for £1,000. I was like, I can't take it down. What a thing.
I had one of those come past me yesterday like a rocket. Like I was going backwards.
They're ridiculous. And they're so comfortable. And because it's little, I use it to go to work, or if I have to take the kids to school or go into town and get shopping, I'm like, take the little tiny car, but have fun doing it, you know? It was great. My love at the moment, which I just love more and more when I get in it, is a 1989 Volvo 240 GLT Estate.
Okay.
I love it. The bodywork's a bit shabby, but I've put brand new massive alloys on it. Big shiny alloys. I love it. I love it to death.
Is that the big boxy one? The 240?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And everybody else loves it. People like actively come over and go, "Oh, can I have a look at your car?" And I always wanted to drive one because I'd heard so much about the reliability. I knew they were a bit of a thing. You know, they had a bit of a following. But I had no idea how popular they were until I bought it because we got a new dog. We kind of rescued this great big huge retriever, which is like a flipping polar bear. So I needed a car to put him in that because they had a Discovery too, and that the chassis had gone, and the van that had gone. That the injectors had gone on the van. So I thought I need something cheap. So I got that, and it's the best thing I've ever bought. Everyone loves it. I've got a car shows now with it and everything.
What was this? Tell me the lockdown story. What was it that I read about? Did you donate a car or something to the NHS staff? What was the story there?
I had that Vauxhall. What was it? A Vauxhall? Forget what it was now. If I wasn't here talking to you guys, I'd know it. It was a 50, the first front-wheel drive car that Vauxhall did. Mm-hmm. Vauxhall something 1500 front-wheel drive. I'd bought that off eBay as a kind of doer-upper for something for me to do, you know. Just, you know, be busy. And I bought a Francis Barnett Kestrel motorbike because I'm not into motorbikes, but I thought it was the prettiest thing I'd ever seen. So I bought that. I was going to put it because we've got a pub here in the house. As you do, called the G-Spot because no one knows where it is. I was going to put the bike in there. But during lockdown and stuff, it was getting a bit... my talent had run out. There was a lot of welding that needed to be done and this, that and the other.
Right.
So I thought, someone else should do it. And I thought, well, who better than to give it away to the NHS staff? So I'll just put it on Twitter, first come, first serve, you can have it. That and the bike.
Fantastic.
And the bike rekindled quite a lot of things for the person who got it. He was going to start a bikers club for junior doctors because the suicide rate was ridiculous.
Right.
And it rekindled that. So everything for a reason, eh?
My word.
Yeah, it was good news.
So out of all the cars you've ever owned and you had to keep one, what would be your keeper? Would it be the Renault 5 GT Turbo?
You know what? As of today, I would probably say the Volvo.
Would you?
It just does everything. It just puts a massive smile on my face. And the only reason I say it's because I've got 3 kids and 3 dogs, you know? Practically, but for sheer driving pleasure, probably the 5, maybe the 5 or I'd love that Jag as well.
Yeah. So I think I know the answer to this. I think you can tell a lot about people by their car history. But electric, have you ever been down the electric route? Does it interest you? Where are you on that?
No,
and no.
probably
and
best
no.
not answer the third.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fair to say, if your love is cars, then you know that, a petrol, even a diesel, big fan of diesel as well. Internal combustion engines have a soul.
Yes.
And your car has a soul, and you become very attached to it. And for me, electric cars are just completely soulless. I have driven one,
I would
and
agree.
I just hated it. I thought it was awful.
I think it's the breathing analogy, probably, because obviously engines breathe. There's an in and an out, and stuff moves around, and I think that's what it is. I think maybe that's why not everybody, but people like us become so emotionally attached to cars.
Well, it's the whole thing, isn't it? It's the noise, it's the smell, it's the way you can, when you double declutch and you get that gearbox and the engine in perfect harmony, and for amazing drivers like Jason, getting it just right, on the apex, things like that. You and the car become kind of one. And it's, the fuel's pumping round like the blood in your body, and it's just, it's a living, breathing thing.
Absolutely. It's an experience, isn't it? And nothing's linear. Everything's all a bit up and down, and that's what I don't like about electric cars. Is the power delivery? It's all straight lines, and it's too linear. But it's the noise.
It's just Scalextrics for the road, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a 2-car fantasy garage. Here's
how much are you giving him?
I'm going to give him 200 grand, right?
Oh,
that's the shopping budget. You can go out tomorrow. You've got 200 grand of hypothetical pound sterling. You got 2 cars. What are you going for? And knowing that you're a practical man, you might want something which is family orientated, and then also something for the weekend in a car form.
I would probably plump for a brand new, full fat, big Volvo 4-wheel drive, because I keep seeing them driving around, and I think they just ooze class. Especially in the right colour combo. I think they're good. I was going to go for a Range Rover, but I just can't afford the repair bills, so I'd go for the Volvo. And then I'd probably have to go for either... I would like an Aston in the garage, but I'd probably try and find that Kit Car 250 GT California.
Oh, would you?
For my... so I'd have a family one and my weekend. Yeah. Oh, I've got a Z4, I forgot to mention.
Oh, have you?
The 3-litre Z4, yeah.
It's V6.
Yeah. That's straight 6. It's a 2004.
Sorry, straight 6. Yes, straight 6.
What a thing! So it might even be a little BMW in the garage. There's too much choice. Don't put me under this amount of pressure, Dave.
So I'm just trying to work it out now. So even in the current, today, how many cars is that on your drive? Is that about 6 or 7?
It's about 6. Although I've just sold the van, so 5.
Love it.
He who dies with the most toys wins, as you know.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, Si, this is a question we asked a lot of our guests, and we want to paint a mental image of you disappearing off into the sunset. So it's a fantasy drive. Where are you in the world? Where are you going? What are you driving? And what are you listening to?
I'm on the Amalfi Coast Road.
Nice.
I'm in I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball in. I'm in a Toyota 2000 GT.
Okay.
Wow.
Not the Volvo.
Not the Volvo. And I'm listening to, what's it called? That do to make the world go by.
Yeah.
On my way to a hot date with my wife in a restaurant.
I mean, that's the perfect soundtrack for that part of the world, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the one for me. Don't know where that came from, but I'm booking flights now.
I think it's good. And listen, here's the thing, is before you get to the hot date with the wife, maybe me and JP will just pop up at a little roadside cafe somewhere, just for a quick livener before you get to dinner.
A cheeky livener.
Cheeky livener.
Works for me. What will you guys be in at the cafe?
That's a good question,
Well,
Dave.
I mean, we will look sartorially elegant, obviously. What would we have arrived in? I don't know. You see, I can see us both pitching up in an Aston, actually.
Can
JP
you?
at the wheel, yeah. Can you not? What would you be in?
I'm thinking, if it's a fancy drive, I'm thinking a Singer.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Classic 911 Singer.
Yes.
But they are a million-ish quid.
Yeah, but that would be nice, wouldn't it? Sort of on those twisty roads.
Oh, yeah.
I've never driven a 911. It's on my wish list.
Have you not? I mean, you've got to get yourself in one. You'll love it.
No, I will tell a lie. I drove a very old one once, which was a repossession, and it was going off somewhere to be sold. But the wheels on the back were so big that it was burning the paint off the arches, so I couldn't really drive it properly.
Oh, right. yeah.
But I've always wanted to drive a 911 because they're supposed to be the best driving car in the world, right?
Yes, I think they are, yeah. They're amazing.
Is that your one car, JP, of everything?
Well, we'll swap the Toyota and the 911 when we get to the cafe.
There you go.
Hey, sweet.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because we'll be going for another beer anyway, so we won't be able to go anywhere. We'll be getting our lodgings for the night, and then you can take the 911 off to your fantasy date with Mrs. Gregson. And I think on that beautiful note, I think you need to take us out, Simon, Jason, Even. What's your name? Simon, Steve, Jason. Take us out, Jason.
That's about it for this week's Fueling Around, powered by Adrian Flux. As UK's largest specialist insurance broker, Adrian Flux will tailor a quote to your exact needs and help you save money on your car, your bike, or even your home insurance. Dave, as always, big thanks to you. But a huge thanks to our special guest this week, the one and only Mr. Simon Gregson. Hey, mate, thanks so much.
Thanks very much, guys. Sorry about the cooker alarm in the background. My wife's cakes are now ready.
Don't be silly. Simon, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Don't forget to press subscribe on YouTube so that you never miss an episode, or you can press the follow button on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Thanks for listening, folks, and, we'll see you next time. Ta-da.